Uncle DJ is back. It's grooming tips for beards, and the ion brush is here. It's on. Its little light is glowing. And I'm going to give you another one of my tips. And this is something that isn't really a tip as much as it is a problem. I don't know if you've seen it with your beard. It's this way with mine. Because of age, typically I like to keep it darker than what it usually is. I find that there's this undergrowth, and I'm going to show you what this undergrowth is just by making a combing this way. And you see down in here all this white that's there. Well, amongst the white, you may notice a few things. One of them is small hair amongst the larger ones. This makes for a very interesting problem that I wish would go away, but age unfortunately only makes it worse. Until you just get a lot of dense white hair and everything goes white, then a good tan would probably correct half that problem. But here is the issue. There's an undergrowth in your face. Many of us don't really recognize it because when you see beard hair coming through, it's coarse and it's dense, and whatever we do to it makes it blend better. And of course this undergrowth also makes it thicker. But for those of us with fair skin, there's this little problem in that when the hair goes white, it tends to make the beard less prominent. So that's one of the reasons why I use beard in a bottle. It does help to take some of that and bring out the actual hair that's down there instead of letting the skin and the white just kind of fade it away. That's how come you've been able to see my beard denser at times and a little less dense at others. Also why I still color it. As I keep showing you, I'm not totally gray up there yet, so when it gets there, I'll let it get here. But anyway, for the sake of trying to figure out about what to do with this stuff, there is one really important and smart tip that a brush like this helps with, and that is to literally, as you comb, take the brush and literally shake it on your face. You see me do this tip before, but this tip is so important because it helps to get those lower hairs, the hairs that are still growing and young and sprouting, to lift. Shampoos, conditioners tend to flatten hair. The only thing that's going to motivate hair to rise is your skill, and this is the brush to do it with. So, as a tip, I usually do this a couple of times a week. Just wiggle the brush up and down, side to side, trying to cover all the hair. And of course, it makes everything look kind of scraggly and strange at first. But that's again where the ion brush really shines, and it shines brilliantly because now that you've got all this lift happening, whether you want to use a beard oil or some sort of something to make the hair softer, the iron brush has already been helping you do that because of this lifting action. Now you can see just from what I've done to lift, it's thicker. You see less stuff in the background. I can stick my hand back there and it doesn't look quite as pronounced. So now you can begin your regimen of just combing and letting all that lift happen by just twisting and twirling, usually in a downward direction. And again, this helps to get the beard to a point where it can begin to not only look fuller and thicker but also have a shape to it. Again, same thing this way. Sometimes if you switch hands it's good, but for some reason my right hand is better than my left hand at this curling action. And with that going, you can also let that mustache come out and stretch and get some more of the hair to really just kind of make a nice presence across your face. Now of course in front, I like to do this, like a full 180-degree roll. And I'll do that right along the goatee line. Again, encouraging those hairs we lifted to get a little fuller, a little thicker, and become a little bit more prominent. Now, of course, I'm not in the mirror, so I can't see everything that I'm doing. But I can tell you, again, you look in the light. Do you see my hand as much as you did previously? You don't you? That's because we lifted those short hairs down below. We allowed the hairs to mix in right and mix in gently with the rolling effect. And of course we allowed it to kind of fan out. I always fan away from the mouth to get the extra density and fullness to work. Now of course I haven't styled it. It's not 100% where it should be, and You know, I could play around with it online on camera and never quite get it right. But in a mirror, I take a couple of minutes, then maybe apply some beard oil and some cream, let that kind of soak into the hair, and then do the brushing again, and you get a nice denser look. And even though I haven't color treated the hair in several weeks, I can still get that nice denser look. Once I actually do a treatment and do the whole thing, the beard looks show quality. It really does. That's one of my latest tips for you. I'm coming up with more, so stay tuned.